Ahead, up next, Connecticut schools just got passed by 10 other states in the race to the top. We now know Connecticut has lost one chance at almost $200 million in federal stimulus money for school reform. The U.S. Department of Education announced the 16 finalists in the race to the top, a competition for part of $4.3 billion that the government has dedicated for school reform funding. Here for a closer look at Connecticut's application and some of the reasons perhaps why it did not make it through as a finalist is the CEO of the education advocacy group ConCan, Alex Johnston. Thanks for coming, Alex. Let's start off with letting people know, first of all, what is the Race to the Top and where does that money come from?
Race to the Top is a federal program. It's a competition that is part of the stimulus package, actually. $4 billion at stake, and it's designed to encourage states to enact education reform based on the evidence that we've seen of what's been working for kids over the last 10 to 15 years.
And so Connecticut, like many other states, submitted an application explaining why they thought we should get it, right?
That's right. And the thing about this competition is it's kind of like a relay race. We just found out that we lost in round one, and but now, you know, the baton is passed to the legislature because there's a round two, and states that have made a lot of progress in enacting education reforms have increased their chances. So a number of the states that were named as finalists have already passed legislation. We have a great opportunity now in Connecticut to build on some of the great work that's already happened through the legislature in enacting some additional reforms.
So we can look at the applications, for instance, that were successful and say, well, you know, these are the things that were successful in their states and apply them here? Or?
Sure. I mean, just to give you an example, in the state of Illinois, 3 days before the deadline of round one, which was January 19th, they passed into law a bill which connects student achievement growth with the teacher and principal evaluation process so that we can actually understand which teachers and principals are increasing student achievement and adjust professional development, make decisions based on that. Now, that's
why isn't that already part of it? Because it seems to me, obviously, if there's student achievement and growth, then the principal or teacher would get a good review.
Well, in fact, we did some analysis with the National Council on Teacher Quality, looking at the schools in Hartford, and found that, you know, over 90%, in some cases 97% of teachers are rated as competent. And very often, teacher evaluation right now is just competent or incompetent.
Oh, okay.
And you need to really do a lot more with that. So the New Haven teachers contract has gone much further. They've made a connection between student achievement and the evaluation process. The federal government has said that everybody needs to start doing this. Other states have passed laws to get it done, and we have the opportunity to do that now in Connecticut.
So, but were you perhaps hopeful that they would have passed that legislation prior to this application so that we could have gotten the money
look,
now?
I think this gets back to the relay race. You know, this application is based on governors and chief state schools officers, commissioners, putting an application together. The legislature now has an opportunity to enact key reforms, and we have a great track record of accomplishment over the last few years of this legislature enacting big reforms. Biggest overhaul of teacher certification in the last 25 years went through this General Assembly last year. So Chairman Fleischman and Chairman Gaffey of the Education Committee are going to be working very hard on that, and they've just spoken about their interest in enacting bills and bringing the stakeholders together to ensure that these issues get addressed.
Now, I know that ConCan has some very specific reform points that you all are going to be pushing. Talk about those.
So this question about how we evaluate teachers and principals is very important, connecting that to student achievement growth. It's also very important that we look at the way we're funding charter schools. The Obama administration has put a big marker down on that. We've got to remove barriers. We're one of only 3 states in the country that uniquely constrains charter school growth by having an annual budgetary appropriation. Right. And then we also need to create an alternative certification route for school principals. And, you know, those are policies that we absolutely could enact this session, and if we do, they're going to greatly enhance our chances in round 2.
So explain that alternative certification for principals. What does that mean, and why will that make schools better?
Well, right now we have a system for certifying principals that does not actually always connect with promising candidates. For example, we have a requirement that principals have had 5 years of teaching experience, yet we have some outstanding teachers who've taught for just maybe 3 years who want to move forward. And Likewise, we have coursework requirements that we don't have flexibility in how people demonstrate their mastery of that coursework. And so just as we reformed teacher certification to ensure that people who could pass a test of subject area knowledge at a high bar could not have to go back and get a second undergraduate degree in a given subject, these are the same kinds of changes we need to make so that we can get outstanding leaders into our classrooms.
Are you getting support from the legislature?
Absolutely. I think we're very encouraged. You know, one of the great things about Race to the Top is that these are evidence-based reforms. They generally attract bipartisan support, and you know, this legislature has a great track record of accomplishment that we can build on. So,
how much money are we looking at could possibly we get?
Well, the round one application was for just under $200 million. That may not sound like a lot of money in a state that spends over $7 billion a year, but the key thing is this is money that's flexible. It can be used to enhance systemic reform, and especially in a time like now where we're struggling to keep the lights on in many of our schools, this money is incredibly important.
So for round two, how much is it also?
The same amount would be available.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah.
So we have another chance at it.
We absolutely do.
And we're going to be filing, you'll be filing that, or the state will be filing that application in June, right?
That's right. And so the legislature has the next really several months, and then they pass the baton back to the executive branch to file that application.
You know, other people have been used the term saying that we can be bombed this application. You seem much more optimistic.
Well, look, I think you have to you put round one aside. This is about getting focused. This is a race. It's a real competition. We can look at what the successful folks did in the first round and learn from that. And it's very clear that folks that are succeeding in this competition are the ones that are changing policy, and we can do the same.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks to Alex Johnston, CEO of the education advocacy group ConCan, for coming today. Now, don't forget, if you missed something here on The Real Story, you can now watch it online by going to fox61.com. You can also catch us on YouTube. Thanks so much for watching this week's edition of The Real Story. We'll see you here again next week.